This is the DualSense Edge Pro Controller, and I had it for 24 hours. How does it stack up? Now, prior to this, if you wanted a Pro Controller, you have to go to either Scuff or Battle Beaver, just to name a few. But finally, for the first time ever, Sony, PlayStation, made their own Pro Controller for the PS5. Now, this is just a first impressions video. I am going to be doing a full-blown review video on this one. I just need some more time with it. I need more gameplay time with it. I just got it yesterday. Let me remind you, this is $200. You're spending your hard-earned cash on a controller. You want to make sure you're getting your money's worth. The unboxing experience is the first thing that you're going to experience, but you're presented with a hard shell case, which matches well with the aesthetics of the PS5. You get a USB-C to USB-A braided cable, which is really nice, and the cable is pretty lengthy. And alongside with that, you have these paddles or bumpers, basically back buttons. We're going to talk more about that in a little bit, and as well as some analog sticks. So these analog sticks remind me of the PS3 days with those dome analog sticks, and alongside with that, you have extra bumpers. Now, these bumpers are fairly unique. I never experienced nothing like this before, but I actually do like it. It's a breath of fresh air playing games like Modern Warfare 2. But I only played Modern Warfare 2. I actually want to play Battlefield 2042 if the servers are alive. I want to play maybe Apex. I haven't really played enough games. That's why this is just a first impressions. And with this case, you have a compartment for charging the controllers. Essentially, you're keeping the controller protected while it's charging. But if you happen to have an official PlayStation charger dock, you can dock it right up with no problems. You have the same exact pins as the regular DualSense. And lastly included, you have this Type-C lock to prevent the controller from slipping out the Type-C port. At first, I thought this was unnecessary because Type-C is pretty snug in there once you plug it in. But throughout time, maybe the port is going to get loose. You can lock the cable into the controller. You have some competitive gamers who like to plug things up just to avoid any latency or delay. Everything is better hardwired. Why do you think Ethernet is always superior than Wi-Fi? It's just so much better performance. Now, the design of the Edge controller is very similar to the original DualSense controller. You have inverted face buttons, and the bottom shell features a glossy black finish opposed to the matte finish on the original. Now, I almost forgot to mention this. If you flip the Edge around, you can see this release. It might be a little hard to get to. You can actually release the bottom plate, and I'm sure there's going to be some third-party retailers that's going to sell different colors, replacements. If you guys want to see a video on that, I'll be more than happy to customize my Edge to its full potential. But it doesn't even stop there. You can actually replace the thumbsticks or the analog sticks. So you just slide it out, and this is probably something else that I see third-party retailers gonna make in the foreseeable future. You can easily replace an analog stick at the PlayStation Direct website. So if you're experiencing any analog drift, you can easily replace it. And same thing on the other side. You can easily replace it just like so. And installing it back, you wanna make sure it's aligned with the grooves. And then you pull this lever back, and you're good to go. Putting back the front plate. You wanna put it from the top, and then it clips on from the bottom. That is it. It is that simple. And the touchpad uniquely has the PlayStation, the cross, the triangle, the square, the circle, and you have a slight shimmery of gloss on the top. So all in all, you get a luxury looking controller at a luxury price, that is. But nonetheless, I love the way how the Edge looks. Maybe I'm just in the honeymoon phase because the controller is new, but nonetheless, I digress. Take a look at the back of the controller. Things get different. You have the trigger stop, so you have level 1, level 2, and level 3. If you're playing games like Call of Duty, you could be able to have a faster reaction time when you're pressing that trigger button. And you also have your bumper buttons. No SP, bumper buttons. Now, these buttons are customizable. So for instance, you could have the cross button, or you could have square. Whatever you want to do, you can customize that button to your liking without removing your hand off the analog sticks. Let's face it, this controller here is tailored towards first-person shooters or shooting games in general, such as Fortnite, Apex, Call of Duty, Warzone. You're not going to play Uncharted with this controller. You can if you want to. And I think this is a perfect time to talk about the function button. Now, this function button was a little weird when I first saw it, but it makes total sense. Now, essentially, when you hold down this button, it's going to give you options such as to change the presets or even adjust the headset volume. Also, you can set the balance between the game volume and the party chat volume, and it's not in the way. You still have your headphone jack, a speaker, you still have the light bar around the touchpad, the indicator light to indicate if you're player 1 or player 2. It's actually integrated with the touchpad, but for the most part, if you're coming from a DualSense, which I'm sure you guys are coming from a DualSense, you gotta feel right at home with the Edge. And I must say, everything was easy to set up. You literally plug it into your PS5. You're gonna be presented with a tutorial on how to configure your first profile. In this case, I customized it to Call of Duty, and I like the fact how you can actually get back into the game. So once you customize everything, you could quickly get right back into your gameplay. But let's talk about some of those settings. Now, of course, you can customize the button assignments, such as switching out cross to be circle, for instance. But more prominently, you can customize the back bumpers. So in this case, I have my left bumper to X or cross, and I have my right bumper set to circle. So in Call of Duty, you jump with the left bumper, while with the right, you can either crouch, or if you press and hold it, you go foam. Now, next up, you can change up the stick sensitivity or the dead zone. I'm not going to go into full details completely. I'm sure there's going to be an hour-long YouTube video figuring out what's the best Call of Duty settings. So essentially, the stick sensitivity, it's gonna, when you move up your analog stick, it's gonna react a little differently. It might be faster, it might be a little bit slower. So there are some presets here, such as quick, precise, steady, digital, or even dynamic. Now with the quick stick sensitivity, this is good for quick movements, giving you that upper hand in fast-paced shooting games. And then you have precise. This is gonna make for good, precise movements. Fans of shooting games may find the ability to aim slowly and accurately. And then next up, you have steady. This is gonna enable smooth and stable movement, ideal when you need to move smoothly in action games. Then you have digital. Tilting the stick even slightly will register nearly maximum input. This is similar to the directional pad, and as Sony states, this is gonna probably be good for fighting games. Like I said, this is something that you're gonna have to see for yourself and see what's gonna be the best setting for you. And then last but not least, you have dynamic. This is enable versatile gameplay in shooting games where you may find you need to aim carefully but also turn quickly. And last but not least, you have trigger dead zone. For games like Call of Duty, you want everything instant. Everything is happening so quickly. When you press that trigger, you can actually see the bar going, so it actually give you a gauge. So for me, I want it from 0 to 100. I want it instantaneously. But maybe for some games, maybe like Gran Turismo, you may need to put like maybe not as much power or not as much gas onto your car. So that's where this comes into play, the dead zone. If you're playing a game like Returnal, this might not be the best setting to tweak up. By the way, the adaptive triggers is not going to work if you're using the trigger stops. If you try to pull this all the way down, the adaptive trigger is not going to work. But if you pull it back all the way up to level 1, the adaptive triggers is going to work. But for me, for competitive play, I don't care about the adaptive triggers. And that leaves me the vibration intensity and the trigger intensity. When you're playing competitive games, I have this completely off. So I have this disabled. I even tried to have it maybe weak, but no. You know, even on the regular DualSense, I always disable vibration on first-person shooting games. But games like Returnal, I'm using that again. I like to have that on just because of the haptics. I love the haptics on that game. Oh man, I want to actually play a game now. Now, I want to talk about the elephant in the room. You guys probably been waiting for this one. Battery life. Unfortunately, I haven't really spent a lot of time with this controller, but I charge it up when I'm idling. But what I am doing right after this video, I'm going to be doing a battery drain test between the DualSense versus the DualSense Edge controller. I actually just got back from Target to pick up a fresh new controller, DualSense controller that is, just to do this comparison. This is gonna take me a long time, so bear with me guys. I'm a one-man stand, so I gotta drain out the Edge battery and I'm gonna drain out the DualSense controller battery. That's gonna be pretty freaking insane. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you guys want to see that one, and make sure you guys comment down below what you guys think about the DualSense Edge controller, and drop a like on this video, help me out tremendously. And until next time guys, stay tuned for more DualSense Edge videos because I have a lot of them. Until next time, have a simple day. Peace.